In the metering view of the console, this lets you see your meter points for your inputs and outputs. On your outputs, you can choose your metering point. You can meter pre-EQ, pre-fader, or post everything. Post on, so that means if you turn it on and off, it affects the metering here. So most of the time, I like to meter pre-fader on these so that I can see what my EQ is doing to the output level, because your EQ does affect your output level. Same on your input channels here. You can monitor pre-high pass filter, which would basically just be straight off the preamp. So that's just telling you the level coming off your preamp. You have pre-fader here, and that lets you see the level post all your processing. So you can see what your EQ and compression is doing to your level. And then post on is post fader, post on button. So your fader does affect the level there. Most of the time, I'll monitor pre-fader on this so that I know if I'm clipping my channel because of my compression or EQ. Over here you have peak hold, and that's simply if you clip a channel, it stays red, is what that does. So you can turn that off if you want to. So that's metering. In your scene selection, you can choose a scene or a snapshot to recall here. You can store or recall snapshots, and you also have undo if you accidentally store or recall when you didn't mean to. Now, over here, you can have comments, and you also have a focus. The focus is very useful. So for this unused scene that we're using here, you can tell it to focus on everything, which means that when you recall that scene, it will recall every setting: the preamp setting, your effects rack setting, your input patches, your input and output settings. It recalls everything. Now, if you only want to recall certain aspects of the channel or the console, you could do it here. So you could say, I only want to recall my inputs. So that's very useful for doing that. Now you also have a fade time here, so you can set how fast it fades in between these snapshots. So that's also very useful. You can set your fade time here. It just gives you a nice little knob to do that.